What's up, coaches? Appreciate you guys for tuning in to this coaches clinic. This is from a 2-day event that we had in London last week. First day was this, which is going to be the first half of it with myself. Ricky Broadmoor also had a phenomenal presentation here that kind of extended this into the team coaching side of things. So we built it up, or I built it up rather, to kind of the 2v2, creating advantages through that. A little bit more through a player development lens and a team setting, and then he took it into the actual team setting and how to build connectivity throughout the team. So that will also be posted at some point as well. Apologies for sometimes the quality lacking a little bit. We had some of the kids up on the top who were filming it, so sometimes they lose me, but you can still get the gist. You can still hear everything. Hopefully you guys will take something from this. Again, as I will explain in the beginning, it's very oriented towards not just team coaches, but coaches who are looking to create specific adaptations for their players, specific improvements for their players within a larger group setting, which most times comes down to a team. But if you're an independent skills trainer who's looking to work better within larger groups with different constraints on you as a coach, I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know if you have any feedback. Enjoy.
I know a lot of coaches who kind of come here and they just do the same thing every time, and they're not very responsive to what the coaches need. And I've always looked at that from you guys' situation and been like, I don't want to be that. I want to make sure that you guys get the most out of it. And it's not just like, yeah, I went here to learn this and take a couple notes. So with that being said, if you guys have anything, like literally, maybe not mid-drill, but whatever, if I'm walking around this way and you're like, yo, what would you do here? Or like, hey, what could I do in this situation? Or what's a good game to implement here? Or how do you do this? Like, just say it, yell it out, raise your hand, doesn't matter to me, but I want you guys to be active in this. I don't want you guys to sit here falling asleep after a long day for 3 hours. That's the last thing I want. So sometimes I get very engaged in the training session that I will forget to come over here, but again, ask, why are you guys doing this? What's this for? How can you add to this? Whatever.
Coleman's in, coming up.
Yes, exactly. We'll both be active. So the theme of this will be, raise your hand if you coach a team. Okay, cool. So decent amount of team coaches. If you do not coach a team, I would imagine at some point you will. If you won't, at some point you are probably going to be asked to at least work with a large group of players who are different. They all have their individual differences, different positions, different styles of play, whatever. So this is going to focus on that, how to build player development into a team setting, but also in a way that has constraints on you, right? So if you guys are familiar with the constraints-led approach, the idea is that all athletes have, or at least in the learning environment, we purposefully place constraints or rules on players that challenge them to develop in a certain way. It's the same thing with you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but as coaches, you have constraints on you. Can anybody give me an example of a constraint that may be on you as a coach at any point?
Court time available.
Yeah, let's say you only have 45 minutes, right? What is that? What behavior emerges from that as a coach?
Efficiency.
Yeah, you got to learn how to be more efficient, okay? What's another constraint that you guys could experience as a coach?
2 hoops.
Yeah, two hoops. One thing we'll do today is, with all these guys, I'm going to put the constraint on myself to only use 1 hoop. We always do that at like in the second day if you guys are coming tomorrow. We always kind of put constraints on you guys where it's like, imagine that there's a big flood on this side of the court and you can only now use this side and it's 20 players. How are you going to do that? What develops from that? Efficiency, the ability to maybe work with larger games than you're used to, whatever. Any other constraints that you guys can imagine?
1 ball, I think just 1 ball.
Yeah, let's say you got 12 players, 1 basketball. Think about like even some mental constraints on you as a coach. Or maybe, yeah, go ahead.
Like players turning late, not showing up.
Yeah, maybe your players don't care as much as you care. That's a massive constraint. I felt that for sure. I still do to this day. Everyone will. And that makes you learn and figure out ways to get buy-in and, yeah.
I was going to say different skill levels.
Different skill levels, for sure. That's something we'll partially do today, more so different skill levels on different areas of the game, but absolutely. Anything else?
I had an interesting one. One of the teams I coached last year,
there were just 2 English-speaking people. The rest
Wow.
couldn't.
Language barrier. One of my favorite constraints that I hated at first. I'm sure you've experienced it, but I've learned, like, I find myself purposefully putting that constraint on myself at times now and be like, what if I can explain this without actually using words, right? And again, you develop more efficiency, body language, ability to use more commonly understood words. So that's a big one for sure. Long story short, we have constraints as coaches. It's not always a perfect world. I think a lot of times when coaches do coaching clinics, again, it's like, here's how I do things in the top level professional league when I have millions of dollars to work with in terms of budget. And you're like, well, how can I, and I get this question all the time, how can I do that if I have a half court with 15 players who show up late and have massively like big skill gaps, right? So I'm going to show you guys some constraints on you as a coach and kind of hopefully how to solve those things, as well as how to build up a session from the warm-up all the way through like entering the tactical side of things, so bridging the gap between the individual player development and the team side of things, which I think both of us would agree that those things kind of go together, but we'll show you guys how that happens. So if you guys have any constraints at any point, again, if I try to constrain myself and you're like, all right, this is something that I experienced, how would you solve this? Again, throw it out there. I want this to be engaging, not just you guys staring. Get up, let's go. We'll start with a warm-up. I could go through a bunch of warm-up stuff. It's fun, I enjoy it, but I'm gonna skip a lot of like the physical literacy stuff that we would do without a basketball for now, just for the sake of time, because I don't want to keep you guys here until midnight. So let's have all of you guys partner up, 1 basketball per pair right now. Okay. Big goal with warm-ups is obviously raise body temperature, prepare them from a nervous system standpoint, but also we want to check some boxes, right? A lot of time we spend 15 minutes on a warm-up and don't really get anywhere with it. It's monotonous. It's the same thing. Why not check some boxes? Why not integrate a basketball? Why not integrate reaction, physicality, the whole 9, okay? Let's say you guys are going to go on the baseline for now. So partner up on the baseline. First one here, you guys are racing. So pair, whatever, you guys are racing down to the opposite baseline, facing each other. So let's say you guys are facing each other here. Starts there, close to the baseline, perfect. You're taking 1 dribble. That dribble has to switch hands. So if I catch it here, I go to the other hand, I pass it back, does the same thing, passes it back to me. So one guy's gonna be backpedaling, the other one's sprinting. The first group to make it down to the baseline wins. Yeah? Ready? Go! Catch it with 1 hand, catch with 1 hand. Winners. Who won? Who won? Whatever. Same thing. Flip side. So whoever is backpedaling last time is now going forward. Ready? Go. Catch it with 1. Catch it with 1. Oh yeah. All right. Same thing. Now you guys are facing each other this way, moving to the side. Catch 1 hand. Switch hands. Catch 1 hand. Switch hands. Go. Yeah. Nice. Same thing. Ready? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Go! Oh, no. I see a lot of cheating going on right there. All right, next one. Next one. Let's say we'll go together here, okay? You're going to make 1 dribble, just like you did, 1 dribble switching hands. From there, you're going to pass it to me. Either way, I have to catch. So if you throw it this way, I have to catch with the outside hand. Boom, and I'm back. Same thing here. You can throw it either way, outside hand back. So now same thing. Ooh, it's a little flat. Same thing, but now you're rotating with it. It's going to mess up your mind a little bit, but that's the goal. Ready, go! Oh, find it. Yep, rotate with the dribble. Rotate with the dribble. Switch rolls. Ready, go! There we go. Yeah. Solid. All right, I need each group to have 2 basketballs now. Hurry up, go get one. Hurry up, go get one. What'd you guys notice about that? Quick little warm-up. Again, it's not the full warm-up, but anything you notice there? Thoughts? Coordination, right? It's a lot of ugliness going on from a motor control standpoint. Problem solving.
Ball control.
Yeah, ball control. Warm-ups to me are a great time to implement some of that dexterity, coordination, fine motor control. Not only because I think it's a great time, but also because those things are meant to prime the nervous system very, very well. So we might as well do them at a time where we would like to prime the nervous system. Next one here. You guys spread out across the court, okay? How we're doing it is one player has both basketballs, all right? Your goal is to not get the ball stolen while you keep both dribbles alive. So I'm here, all right, you're trying to steal the ball. I have to keep both away from you the best that I can. Oh, trying not to move around too much. So let's say a few meters, a few feet, whatever, radius. I do not want to see you go from here to the opposite fucking basket. Stay in place. There we go. Ready, go. Oh shit. Hey, great minds think alike, man. Yes, there we go. Three, two, one, time. All right, before you switch, those of you who were here earlier, what would Ricky say about how you're dribbling, the quantity of your dribbles? It's too many. Try to control the ball. Keep it in your hand a little bit longer. Switch it. Ready. Go. Less dribbles, more time in the hand. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Okay, now we'll try a different variation. I just thought of this one, so if it's terrible, it's terrible. All right, now defense is gonna be, I'm facing defense, so we're facing each other here. I cannot turn my back. Obviously, how you guys solved that problem was turn your back, protect it, go in a little jail dribble, sure. Now, you cannot do that, so you're here with it. Your goal is gonna be to switch hands, so you're allowed to switch hands like this and pick up the ball, pick up the ball. If you protect it, you can put him back down and you're straight in the next one. So I'm here, all right, if he's trying to protect it, oh, I'm here with it, and then it's straight back to the ground, oh, and I'm trying to switch hands, all right? Try not to end up moving back like I did. I looked scary as shit on that. Ready, go, control your space. There we go, straight back to it. Oh, yeah. Five, four, three, 2, 1, time. Switch, switch, switch. I'll go shorter time periods here because we only got so long. Switch it. Other guys up. Go. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. All right, real quick before we move on. One thing I do want to mention that I forgot to talk about at the beginning is, did anyone notice, number one, what time did we start? Probably like 10 minutes ago, whatever, like a little bit late. Okay. In this situation, it's a little bit different, but this sounds crazy. We do make an effort at times to start sessions 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. Does anyone have a guess on why? Say it again.
Players will be late, right?
Players are on, let's say if the players are on time. They're all there 15 minutes early. We get onto the court at 6. We may start at 6:08.
You want to see what they do. It takes them.
Yeah, we want to see what they do. That's a great time to do what? For players to do what?
Interact.
Say it again.
Settle down, interact.
Sure, settle down, socialize a little bit. What else?
Stretch.
They can stretch, get into the routine. That's a good one.
Implement their own routine.
Okay, have their own routine. Did any of you guys notice what a few of these guys are like? Any of the things that these guys were doing beforehand when they were just like in here kind of vibing out? What were some of those things? Interacting with each other, 1, yes. What else?
Getting shots up.
Getting shots up, 2. Anything else?
Maybe some one-on-ones.
Some one-on-one, 3. Ball handling, saw a little ball handling. I saw Kimbe getting into some like balanced shooting stuff. Point being, we spend so much time as coaches trying to prescribe to players what to do. And especially these days, especially you guys in the UK where like a gym like this for 10 minutes is, at least from what I know, to die for. And players come in and as soon as they walk in any gym, they have a coach telling them, do this, do that. Here's exactly what you need to do. What if they want to come in and just play one-on-one? Work on a drill that they saw online, work on something that their favorite player had done the night before. They need time to do that, right? So long story short, socialize a bit. I don't want to say start late because also at times you got to deal with parents who are like, why are you starting late? We're getting less time. And I've had that conversation before, but at the same time, they come in and they're warm, so we can get straight to some ball handling stuff. We don't have to do a full dynamic warm-up because they naturally go through that when they just come in and they're shooting around, playing some light 1v1, socializing. A little bit of a tangent, but very important to realize, okay? Next thing. Half of you guys over on this basket, half of you guys over on this basket, okay? Let's go groups of 2. So it's 2v2 here, all right? We just need 1 basketball per group. Very simple warm up, kind of ramping up to what we'll get into. We're gonna have a offensive player around the opposite block, dunker spot, wherever you would like to start. Offensive player with the ball right here, and then 2 defensive players who, as I take a dribble here, are trying everything they can to not let me get that pass off, all right? 1 dribble here, I'm going up, and I'm trying to make a jump pass and find space to a layup here, okay? You don't have to contest the layup, just do everything you can to get up a little bit. Maybe it's a 70% jump, try to deflect it. It's not make it, take it. Once you make the pass, you are off. Once you play defense, you're on offense. Does that make sense? Let's go. There we go, straight to it. Figure out a rotation to make it move as quick as possible. You guys figure out the rotation, as many reps as you can. One thing we'll talk about today is rotation systems, logistics. It's the least fun part of coaching by far. However, it may be one of the most important because if you speed up the amount of reps that a player gets by 1.2x over a season, you're talking about hundreds, thousands more reps, right? So a lot of this comes down to prescribing rotation systems, but also helping them figure out how to do that on their own. So if you go to the other side, they're still moving and they're still able to figure that out a little bit. 30 more seconds. Let's go, quick reps, fellas, quick reps. I like it, I like it. All right, now for you guys, your eyes are closed until you jump. Your eyes are closed until you jump. Open them at the last second. Open your eyes at the last second. Nice. You guys too, eyes are closed until you jump. So you're taking a dribble, jumping, you open your eyes, then you gotta find that space, yeah? I like it. Let's go, quick reps, quick reps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides, switch sides. Nice. Yes. All right. right, now, listen up real quick. If you or your teammate makes a certain type of pass, you are not allowed to make that pass again. So if they make like a, pump fake, bounce pass, you can't do that. So it should get to a point where you're like, how the hell do I pass this? And you got to figure it out. All right, keep going. 1 more minute. Nice, way to find that space. Almost smoked it. Eyes closed for the last second. Good pass. Oh, yeah. Beauty. Oh, yes. All right, pause real quick. Now, last variation of this. Last variation. You must get a paint touch, so you can open your eyes. You must get a paint touch with 2 feet here before you make the pass, okay? Defense, you can be physical. You can double team them. You have to get a paint touch here. You can also kind of peel switch it a bit. So maybe I go here. Now you can recover and contest or deflect. Does that make sense? So now it's a little bit more live. If you don't get a paint touch, immediate turnover. Let's go. Nice, there we go. This is something where, would you guys consider this like developing the fundamentals? How would you guys describe what the fundamentals are in basketball? This is a great conversation.
Things that happen regularly in the game.
Things that happen regularly in a game, and I would add, if you can't do them, you can't play. That's the definition of what fundamental is, right? To me, whenever I see coaches working on fundamentals, not whenever, but many times, traditionally, including myself, it's the easy stuff. It's not the stuff that happens most often, but it's the drills that are considered the fundamental drills that everyone must master. For me, I don't think about the fundamental drills. I think about the skills, which is being able to get a paint touch, get to 2 feet, make a contested pass. That's fundamental, but you can see there's a lot of creativity involved. It's difficult, and this is not how you would typically consider fundamental work to look. Yes?
These were beginners instead of like players that know how to play.
Yes. Great question. And this is something that, honestly, I want you guys to ask throughout if I forget. If these are beginners or lower level players and not phenomenal basketball players, you can do the same exact games. I promise you. However, just adjust little things here and there. For example, defense, hands behind the back, right? Defense, you only have one arm. Defense, you move back a little bit, right? But these are minor adjustments that you can make to the same game. Yeah, so start to think about that.
Do you reduce the time to progression?
Yes, for sure. Like, honestly, if these were beginners, it would be very simple to start, and then we probably wouldn't progress it unless I see that they're killing it. So I'm kind of monitoring where they are, and then we go from there.
If you have very different levels,
Yes.
same work, would you regularly change the constraints?
Yes, and I would give them individual constraints, which we'll talk about. You're ahead of your time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. All right, players, you can. Let's go this. Bigs, Ricky, you can have the creativity to, and if you want to throw someone into a different group, just for the vibes, feel free. Bigs and wings. This side. Guards, not just point guards. Guards. This side. All right. I'll talk to you guys. So, I planned some things out. I used ChatGPT to figure out or essentially to randomize skills that these players need to work on, and then I'll just kind of figure it out on the fly. Could have talked to Ricky about it, but he would have cheated it, so I don't want to do that. Guards, main focus is, again, let's say this is a team, and I go in, and again, you don't have to have all the analytics and the synergy and the second spectrum, all that stuff. This could just be an eyeball test and be like, all right, my players suck at X, Y, and Z. The X, Y, and Z for today are guards, pull-up threes, which for some of you guys, if the players are not at the pull-up 3 level, which in my opinion, most players should learn how to shoot that at a somewhat high volume if you're any of their heights if they want to have any chance of playing college basketball or, high-level basketball here in Europe, wherever. Pull-up threes, but consider just pull-up jumpers, handling pressure, finding passing lanes. Those are the three for the guards. Wings, maintaining an advantage off of a closeout. Does anyone want to explain what I mean by that? Maintaining an advantage off of a closeout?
Getting past them and being able to score before they recover.
Yeah, so after you get that initial step, let's say you notice that your players constantly let the defender get back in front of them. That's what I would consider in this situation to be individually maintaining an advantage. Dynamic shooting. In other words, let's say they're great at being able to catch and shoot while they're static still, but as soon as you get them moving this way into a shot, it breaks down a little bit. And out of control finishing. We all have wing players who are athletic. These guys probably demonstrate some of this, but sometimes a little bit too athletic to the point where they get out of control. Bigs, we're going to work on being able to fake the dribble handoff and kind of turn that corner and rumble downhill like a lot of bigs are asked to do these days, playing on the perimeter, and sealing early and finishing off of that. So we're going to break them up into position groups. Again, this is perfect world. I know a lot of the time we cannot break them up into position groups, but if you find yourself coaching in a couple years, maybe you have a little bit more resources and you can go guards, bigs, wings with different coaches and all that. Great, but if not, I promise you I will constrain myself to apply that situation, okay? Guards, grab me 2 chairs over there, please. I was about to run over there, but you guys are faster. Guards, simple game here. Put 1 at each yellow line. And then I need a shooter and I need a defender. You got shooter? All right, you're here. Kimbe, you're going to be right there. All right, you're not allowed to send the ball over here. You're not allowed to go through here, so it's tag. He's a little too far, my bad. All right, you're playing tag. If defender tags offensive player, circling around here, it is a turnover, but you're not allowed to reach through. So I probably should put another chair here, but you get it. So let's say you start a little bit closer, all right? Let's say he goes this way. Where should you go? Away, yeah, okay? Not yet, keep dribbling around, all right? Let's say now he turns back the opposite way. Yep, you're constantly just running from him, right? Whenever somebody else says go, you gotta find that shot as quickly as you can. So I don't care if you're right here, you have to find a way to get into the shot before he tags you. All right. Cool, so try it real quick. Go. Beauty. Solid, so you guys, whoever's off is gonna say go. It's gonna be partners. As soon as you guys shoot, next group is directly on. I do not want any lag off of that, okay? You guys wait until I explain it for these guys. Okay, wing. Whoever is in the wing group, let's go on this 45, okay? You guys are playing off of a closeout, okay? So I'm here, I'll pass it. I must get both feet outside of the three-point line. You have to take 3 dribbles in front of me before you can score. So you're gonna attack here, right? You have to slow down, find an angle to stay in front, and then finish from there, okay? So you can't just go straight line and get a dunk. You have to stay in front. Defense, try with everything you have to get back in front of them. Defense, offense, try it real quick. So it'll be a super short closeout. Get a little bit closer. Yep, closeout right there, both feet in front. 1, 2, 3, playing off of that, okay? I'm gonna add some stuff to it later. Lastly, bigs. Offense, defense, all right? Offense, you're gonna be dribbling this way towards the sideline. Let's say I'm defense. I'm going to be on his side. Whenever offense wants to go, you are turning here, and you have 1 dribble to get all the way to the rim. You have to recover and try to beat the shit out of that shot. All right? So you can take a couple dribbles here, and whenever you want to go turn, get downhill, 1 dribble to push out and score. Nice. Solid. 1 dribble is going to be tough, but that's why we're doing it. Any questions? Get to it. Let's go. I'll come around and add some stuff. You guys, make sure to rotate. Don't kill each other. Yep. What could make you guys rotate quicker? Let's say Kimbe bricks and it goes across the gym. Rebounder. Go. I'll bail you out. Cash. All right, so let's do this exercise. If these players are not as good as they are, if these players are like, maybe not beginners, but like U14 players, how can we adjust these? Yeah. Say it again.
No jump.
Yeah, so you could adjust the contest, right? No jump, no hands. Yeah, I mean, if it's really difficult, you could just move it closer. You can make it an elbow thing, right? You could say tag, but after you say go, they get the shot anyways. If they don't get tagged, there's no contest, theoretically. We can move the chairs further apart so it feels like they're running, and it gets their nervous system running like they are being tagged, but they're not going to get got. I think that's a good start. And as you can see, or as you could imagine, if you implement some of those things, it's basically uncontested shooting, but in a way that is fun, is reactive, and gets them involved, gets them engaged a little bit. Wings. What are some ways for like an under 14 player that you could adjust this? Yeah. So you could enforce, if we're going on this side, that the defense must like find their position behind the offensive player. So if we go on the wing right here, instead of saying 2 feet outside, we say defender, you have to touch their butt, or that's a little crazy, their tailbone, whatever you want to call it, that your players are comfortable with. You have to get behind here and then play out of that. So now, any player, they may lose the ball a little bit, but any player who is decent enough at being an athlete can maintain another human on their back. If they lose the ball, that's good. We want them to lose the ball. That's part of it, right? So that's a more simple one. We could also say no contest at the rim, whatever. Bigs over there. Sorry, they're over here now.
More dribbles.
Yeah, yep. So we could give them 3 dribbles, which I'll probably go do right now, but they're actually doing a decent job. Anything else?
Further back with kind of
Yeah, more space, pretty simple from there, all right? But again, this goes to show, like, I get so many questions about, like, or honestly a lot of, like, objections about, I can't do this with my players. You're working with college players, pro players, high-level high school players. And I'm like, I did the same small-sided game or drill with a 12-year-old the other day, and it takes one adjustment. So that's one of the most empowering things you can have as a coach, to know that, like, it's not, I have to come up with new games every time. I just need to know how to adjust them, yeah? So I'll change a couple things, I'll come right back. Biggs, how's it going? Solid?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's change something real quick. Biggs, you guys are now, see that little white and yellow intersection right here, okay? You guys are starting from up here. Let's say you're playing defense on me. I have to turn around there. So imagine like it's a pole or a cone you got to go around. I get here, you're sprinting, and then I'm turning and playing off of that. Now you have to get to 2 feet and play off of that. You have unlimited dribbles to get there as long as it's a straight line, okay? You guys can get started. You guys, same idea, but now we have a gap defender. So let's say I'm receiving the ball here, okay? Close out. You can start here or here. Doesn't matter. Let's say you're there for now. So whenever this happens, let's say, where would you probably step to send me towards your gap? This, yep. So now you get here, same thing. All right, now I have a gap, and I'm monitoring here, and then now it's a 1v2. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, so starting 3-point line, really try to dig in, play off of that. Offense, same thing. You have to take 3 dribbles, so you have to monitor them, keep yourself away from them, and kind of see where both players are at once. Cool? Let's go. Nice. Last rep, last rep. All right, sorry, I had you guys going for hella long, but it's good. Now, let's say, actually we'll do this. How many of you guys are more like ball screen heavy players? Okay, how many of you guys are more off the catch? All right, let's do that. Ball screen heavy guys. I know you guys are definitely in drags at times, so we're gonna do the same thing, but now instead of the oval being this way, it is this way. It's the same thing, but you're probably gonna shoot with momentum going downhill, yeah? All right, you guys get started, ball screen guys. Off the catch guys, you too. All right. Now, you're coming up from the corner here, okay? Defense is gonna start baseline. Offense is gonna start at the break. So one of you guys, let's go, you're on defense here. Offense, you're starting right at the break. Defense, you're gonna throw the ball over his shoulder. You're catching, and you can either shoot or shoot a flyby with one dribble. Cool? You can let it bounce if you want to, but it's probably quicker if you catch it. Try it. My bad. You can look behind you. Hey, made it work. You can look. So look, instead of being like this and waiting for it, you can look behind you and then go. Yeah. Try it again. So look, yeah, be ready for it. Close out, shot. There we go. Beauty. Nice. Does it? Beauty. Yeah.
Do situations.
And then
So like
they're giving DHOs.
So yeah, right now what can we do? So now we're going to use different strength levels. We use one side and you've got a shot.
Nice. Perfect. I figured these would align with your principles.
And then I'll talk about like, the fact that this is an under 18.
Yeah.
An under 14, 16.
Yes, absolutely. But it's good for them to.
Good for them to.
Yes. All right, players, freeze, freeze, freeze. Get one more rep. You look like you wanted to go one more. Nice. Okay, so a couple things here. Number one, obviously this is not my team. I know these guys decent enough, at least some of them. However, if this were a team or a group of players that I would work with a little bit more frequently, especially if it was a team, all of this would be dictated by our PDPs, player development plans, okay? It's very simple at its core, but it truly, you need a roadmap, a guide, a North Star for every player individually, not just the team, because if you don't have a roadmap of how to get player A, player B, player C to where you want them to be, it's very, very difficult to get your team there. And I see so many coaches who take time out of practice because their players can't maintain advantages, their players can't create advantages, they can't make shots, and the answer is so often to them, we need to get more open shots via tactics. Of course, tactics are important, but more importantly is helping players improve in the context of the tactics or outside of the context of the tactics at times, and that must be a strategic, calculated process. So our player development plans have a few things, and I'll try to keep this efficient. Number one are rate limiters. Does anyone know what I mean by a rate limiter? Okay, rate limiter is something that holds the rest of the game back. Do any of you guys, players, have something that you feel like if you cleaned it up, you would play 15 more minutes a game? One part of your game.
My passing, on time, on target.
Okay, so you feel like if you improved your passing and became an absolute floor general, then you would play more minutes. And that would allow the rest of your strengths to show.
100%.
Cool. Yes, sure. So being able to sustain focus offensively or defensively, both? Both?
Just catch and shoot.
Catch it, yeah, if you're able to shoot it at a high level. So the most common rate limiters are ability to handle pressure, how many of, especially at a younger age, and this is why I say ball handling is far more important to work on with young players than shooting, because you get pretty good if you're able to shoot 10 shots a game at a youth level, but you can't shoot 10 shots a game at a youth level if you turn it over every time. Perfect example of a rate limiter. It holds everything else back, right? So again, defense, big one, even the intangible side of things, effort, whatever. Those are the things that keep players off the court. Strengths, or superpowers, we like to call them, are the things that make you you. Now, if you have a U14 player, most times this hasn't emerged just yet. So it's about just diversifying, exposing them to a bunch of things. And once you get around these guys' age, how many of you guys would agree that you have a pretty good picture of like the skill or the style or the skills that make you you? Like that's your shit right there. What would it be?
Defense.
Defense.
Getting downhill.
Getting downhill. Leadership.
Athleticism.
Yeah, sure. Being able to be a slasher and athletic. This could be shooting. This could be ball screen play. If you look at the highest level, obviously, players are specialists for the most part. As much as like the NBA is going towards like positionless basketball, still every single team tends to emerge with the specialists who play a lot, and that goes down increasingly more to these guys' age. And even lower, I would argue. But even more importantly, it just helps you know what to improve and where to go as a player. So those are the two big ones. We then have a roadmap that focuses on those things. We have like players to watch. We have the intangible side of things. But those are like the big ones to focus on. And I promise you guys, if you just have 3 of each, or sometimes 2, sometimes 4, whatever, 3 of each for each player, and then every single time you set up a session like this where you got different games going on, or even the same game like I'm about to show you right now, you can look at each player and be like, rate limiter, passing. Okay, well, I'm going to add a pass into theirs. I'm going to give them an individual constraint that they have to pass here, or they have to make an on-time, on-target pass. If it's they can't play defense, well, in these drills, you're going to play defense twice for every time you play offense, right? So every one session should look different, even if it's all the same games, all the same drills. That's in an ideal world. At younger levels, again, it's more just about exposure. So if you're exposure to different things, not exposure to colleges and all that shit, it's, at least in the US, we have to clarify that. It's about exposure to different tactics, different skills, different like movement patterns, different mindsets, different players, etc. But the higher up you get, the more you want it to be specific, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is show you guys what we will do, or what we would do, if all players, sorry, I'm not gonna move these right in front of you guys. Thank you, sir. If all players, if this basket just magically broke, somebody like dunked on it, whatever, we don't have it anymore, and we have 12 whatever players on one basket, okay? So I need all of you guys down here. This is where, and even in the full court example, this is where like template drills, we call them, template games, are very important. We have like max 8 to 9 games, small-sided games or drills that we do over and over and over again, right? 1v1, you could even say like advantage, 2v1, disadvantage, so 1v2. The amount of possibilities that those have are limitless. And I, in the past, have found myself spinning my wheels over and over and over again thinking, I have to come up with a new drill for this, a new game for this. And like, or I just set up one of the staple games and just riff off of that and try to fit it to the situation the best as possible, right? So, especially when you have a big group on one side, yeah, we're gonna do a 1v2, or we're gonna do a 2v1, or we're gonna do a 1v1, and then I'm gonna plug in different constraints, different rules, different focuses, different cues with every single player, okay? So, I need 4 of you guys to give me a very specific, very specific skill that you want to work on in this. And I'll just imagine the rest of you guys. More specific. Think about it.
Reading the tag defender.
Okay, reading the tag, sure. That's an interesting one. I like it.
Finishing with contact.
Finishing with contact, okay. Anything else? Yeah.
You can leave like running right into them and getting a shot.
Okay, so like dynamic shooting, moving fast into it. We need one more.
We can passing.
Say it again?
We can passing.
We can passing. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a ball screen game going on one side, and then we're gonna have attacking, finishing game going on the other side. And I promise you I'll get back to the focuses I mentioned earlier, but it's a good thought exercise. Ball screen 1. Is anyone lefty? All right. We'll pretend, whatever, we'll figure it out. Let's say if we wanted to work on weak hand passing, and I have identified that as a rate limiter, and let's say a couple of these guys, whatever, then I probably need to set up this game on this side of the court. So I need half of you guys on this side of the court, and then half of you guys on the other side. Does not matter, we'll switch, okay? Game over here, we're gonna have corner guy. Yep, we're gonna have tag, and we're gonna have a ball handler. Sorry, we're gonna have a roller too, that would make sense. So, we don't need too many defenders here. Let's just say, again, we're trying to be resourceful here. You're gonna come up and set a ball screen from the middle. Boom, you're here, you're getting into a quick roll, okay? You cannot enter the three-point line, and you have to make this pass one dribble off of the ball screen. So you're here, all right, you're waiting for that to open up. You're gonna be as deceptive as possible as that tag guy. You're either gonna pass it. Once you pass it, it's a one-on-one over there. You can either shoot it or attack, okay? Once you pass it, you're then gonna get a shot from somebody else coming off of this. Simple, okay? So let's try it out real quick. Yep, playing off of that. And then a shot into it, big, get bored, okay? Now, key here on this one, you're gonna go guard. You're gonna be big. You guys are gonna rotate like it doesn't matter the position, and I'll explain why later, okay? You guys get rolling on that. I'll explain the other drill for you guys over here, which is very simple, okay? We said finishing with contact, and we also had out of control finishing as one of them. So I wanna merge the two. Let's say defense, you guys are gonna be alternating with that side. Defense is gonna start on the stanchion down there, the whatever. Like touching the big, I don't even know what to call that. Is it a stanchion? Yeah, whatever, okay. Then you're playing off a closeout here. So I need, just to involve more players, let's have passing. You're gonna close out from the three-point line here, all right? I'm catching, you're playing 2v1 here, I'm attacking. You're stepping in as soon as I see that. All right, now the key here, I have to go off of 2 feet, okay? I have to go off of 2 feet, but before each one, somebody is gonna tell you slow or fast. The defense doesn't know. Slow means your goal is to get down here and slow down as much as you can and use pace, but still have 2 feet. Fast, you're going up like an athlete. So think of it as like Luka versus like Ant Edwards, John Morant type vibe. All right, so matter of fact, they're gonna tell you Luka or Ant. Luka or Ant. Whoever's behind you in line. All right, I'm not being Ant, so one of you motherfuckers go. Make sure we alternate sides. Make sure we alternate sides. Yo, look, you guys know the importance of communication. If this side's going, this side, wait. If this side's going, this side, wait. Talk to each other. Even somebody lead the alternating. Yes. Nice. All right, so I made these up on the fly, so we'll see how they go. But I wanted to show you guys how a few things. One, we can integrate multiple positions. Number one, I think we do overthink sometimes the value of positional work, right? We'll talk about this, I would assume, a little bit in the tactical side of things, especially when we get into 2v2. But I've heard a few really good coaching clinics. Thomas Isalo, who's with the Memphis Grizzlies now, is a great one. A couple other ones where, especially in the preseason, they're going fully like 2v2, 3v3 out of their primary triggers, with bigs playing as the guard, wings playing as the big, guards playing as the big. Does anybody have an idea why, in a more tactical sense, that would make sense?
I mean, just to know where it is. I know where my point guard is if I'm playing point guard as a player.
Yeah. So for me, I've never played big man in my life, obviously. However, sometimes when I play that role just in a workout as a coach, I feel like I'm a hell of a big now, because obviously I can play those angles and whatever. However, more importantly, I feel like I know how a big man thinks more. So you can spend 5 minutes, probably even less, 5 reps out of a whole practice playing the opposite role, and you could say, well, specificity is everything. We got to be as specific as possible. Sometimes seeing the other side of things is big. Now, and that helps on the opposite side, on that tag read, right? Because you know how to time up and take the angle of the roll, and as a big, you know what the guard is seeing on that tag read, okay? On this side of things, is he probably going to be attacking? Well, probably in Ricky's offense, yes. Probably attacking from the corner and playing off of that. Most offenses probably are going to stick him under the basket and tell him to be a big. However, number one, there is a lot to say about player buy-in. Every player, especially bigs, they want to play. They want to work on their guard skills, right? And I've had so many bigs, and I've made the mistake in the past where I come in and I'm like, no, we're not doing that because you're never going to do that. And then you lose them. You lose their buy-in versus being like, all right, 5 minutes we'll work on your guard skills, whatever. It's not going to hurt. 2, general skill. If they're able to control their body doing this, they're able to control their body catching in the short corner at the dunker spot and making a tough lay, right? So there are more general skills than you guys think. It's not always about just what are they doing in a game, let's do exactly that. Sometimes it's about, I always use the analogy of like filling in a fingerprint on like an iPhone when you get it for the first time, and it's like you have to get all the little ridges of the fingerprint. That's how I see basketball players, where even if we're not really pushing that fingerprint down, at least expose them to different movement patterns, concepts, ideas, feelings, and it's very valuable. You guys, switch sides. If you don't know what they're doing on the opposite side, ask somebody. They must teach you. You cannot ask me. We'll just go for 2 minutes here. Yes.
Also, I was noticing that on the defense, if you're in rotation,
yes,
as a guard, you're going to find yourself in that situation.
Absolutely.
All the time.
For sure.
How do you wall up?
Yes.
How do you react to that?
100%.
You're going to be in that situation.
And that's where I think positionless basketball, that's the evolution of the game that I think positionless basketball is really bringing. It's not everyone needs to be able to be good at everything. It's everyone needs to be able to be familiar with everything. Right, exactly. So if you're put in a spot where you have to guard a ball screen, now guards are setting ball screens for bigs. Like you see it all the time now. So even more than ever, like it's, again, I don't want a big to be a guard. I want them to be able to see from a guard's perspective and at least be competent in understanding the concepts that a guard would usually do. So that's a really good shout. Another thing here, I think one of the big constraints here is that I'm only one coach with however many players. You guys all get it. But so many times we find ourselves feeling behind in a session because it's like, oh, there's so many players doing so many things. Don't fret about that too much because these players are, obviously these players are well conditioned to this, okay? However, players learn to figure things out. Sometimes they enjoy not being seen for a couple reps so they can try shit out that they know I probably would not be happy with. And ultimately, if you really look at it, that's probably a good thing, right? If you look at how the best players in the world grew up, they played pickup. These kids are probably not playing much pickup. What's the best thing we can do? The next best thing sometimes is just look the other direction and let them fuck around a little bit. And then you look, you give them an individual constraint, they roll, you keep an eye on them a little bit, you help them teach each other up, and it all works out. So I wouldn't fret about that too much. Any questions before we move on? Yes.
On the previous one, when we were using the full court,
Yeah.
we had 4 little drills going on at the same time with only 2 coaches.
Yes.
Would you run that with younger players as well, knowing they probably need a little bit more attention?
Great question. So he asked, would I run the 4 different stations at once with younger players? At first, probably not. I think you would need less of it because they all need to work on the same things, right? If it's a 13-year-old team, we can probably all work on the same things and it covers all their superpowers and rate limiters. So probably not. However, I would do it as an attention challenge, a social challenge at times, and even a coaching challenge for myself, right? But maybe it wouldn't differ so much. It would just be like 4 groups playing the same one-on-one, everyone has a different constraint or something like that. Really, that's a really good question. Anything else before we move on? 10, 9, 8, yeah, 7, just got there, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hey, oh my God. Buzzer beater dunk, missed the opportunity. All right, you guys need water, you good? You good? All right. Okay, so real quick, I'll let these guys get water anyways. Now, another good constraint here is, especially if you work for an organization, obviously at higher levels for the most part. So if you work with younger levels, it still has application for sure, but as you get up in levels, it definitely does. Coach comes to you, head coach, or the sports science team, and they go, hey, these guys need a really chill day today because they just played 2 or 3 games. And even at younger levels, again, I think there's value in just giving them a day to go a little bit lower intensity. So you can't go fully live, right? All we've done so far is fully live stuff. Tomorrow, we're gonna go a little bit more into the on-air side of things, but we'll cover it a little bit today. But I'll give you a couple options here, starting with mock defense, okay? Now, for players, sometimes mock defense is tough because it goes from 20% to 40% effort to 60% effort. Next thing you know, they're just hooping. So let's try to avoid that here, but we'll see where it goes. Mock defense-wise, we can split up both baskets now, but watch down here first. We're gonna start it close in. So let's say offense, defense. Okay, you guys are gonna start at a different angle each time. Defense is gonna be, actually, I'm gonna give you guys almost full independence here. Offense, you're starting around this distance here, okay? Defense, you can start anywhere you want to. You have 2 dribbles. Both of you guys are going at around 50 to 60% intensity. I'm looking to create contact. You are looking to create contact. You have to get to 2 feet and finish. Hands are behind my back defensively. So let's say you start off the dribble here. You can take your first dribble, yep, and then I'm playing from it here, yep. You can kind of imagine and visualize as well. Like, I think you did a good job of that. I don't think I'm that strong to the point where I just bumped you back to the free throw line. So imagine like you are in a game where it's full speed and you're making these reads at full intensity, and I call it like forced imperfection. Sometimes if you guys watch like Kyrie workout, or any good high-level player, but Kyrie's insane with this, it's not like what you see out of a lot of younger players where it's like, here, look at the rim, shoot, it's perfect. Like, they're just flowing like they're in a game. They're looking different directions. They're like weird footworks off of that because they've played so much basketball that they know what it feels like to be imperfect but make that work. So your goal for this is to implement that with the help of a little bit of defense. Cool? Let's go. Group going here, same thing on both wings down there. Let's go for just a few minutes. Rotate, no make it, take it. No make it, take it. Let's go. There we go. Defense, give them different looks. Help them out. So you can scale this up, scale this down in terms of intensity. I've done it at times where I've literally told them to walk, like both players have to walk. But again, there's just some sort of like engagement. And, oh shit. When players feel like they want to go harder, that's a good sign. But you will at times, if you work with older guys who, aren't 12-year-olds who can just revive themselves automatically, you will have to scale them back, but that's a good problem to have. So for here, these guys are doing a pretty good job, I think, of just implementing a little bit of variability and making decisions, but not doing it in a way that really stresses their system, their nervous system, and obviously their body, their joints. And then again, like you can see a couple of them are getting into post-ups. I didn't really mention that, but that's a good thing because that means that's probably something that he wants to work on. And like, it's almost like when you're like dehydrated and you're like craving like salty shit or whatever because your body knows that you want that. That's how I see players where like if they constantly go to something in a workout, in a game, whatever, they're craving doing that. Maybe that's hooping, maybe that's like they avoid contact so their body's a little bit tired. But long story short, listen to what their tendencies are and try to play into them a little bit. All right, one more rep down there, one more rep, go ahead. All right, time. Down here. Now, what's a way that you can implement mock defense like this into shooting work? There are thousands of them, so don't overthink it. I'm not trying to trick you guys.
Keto stuff.
Say it again?
What's keto stuff?
Yeah. So anything where great one, because this is how I see it. If we're not going to be making real decisions, especially shooting-wise, I would like to disturb some system of theirs, right? Proprioception, so balance. Visual system, so we do a lot of things that target like the quiet eye, which is in other words being able to quickly key on in the rim and shoot. We've done crazy things with like audio system as well, where we just turn on the music super loud and guys start missing 20-30% more. So we would like to disturb some system. There is room for confidence work for sure, and that was going to be my last option here after I get into the on air, where sometimes you got to come into the gym, and again, just like I talked about with players like cravings, sometimes anyone who's hooped knows it. You just want to come in the gym and see 80% of the shots go in, and that's valuable, right? As like I definitely swung too far to that side of the pendulum where I would never do that. In season, I would have players come in and just the hardest shit that they've ever done. I'm like, at least in between drills, at the end of a workout, if we go 45 minutes, the last 15 minutes yours. Or, just like I mentioned earlier, you come into the gym, you get your confidence reps up at the beginning. But that's player-led. All this stuff is player-led. I'm not against block shooting. I'm not against two-ball dribbling, very simple stuff. I'm not against any of these things that like so many people have polarized on social media. It just, when you're with me, and when you're with a group of guys who want to compete and like really make decisions, why would I spend time doing that when you can do that autonomously? So I help players figure out little routines to do that are like confidence building and things of that nature, but just the when and where. On air, actually we'll do one more mock defense, light defense one, and then we'll go on air. We're gonna have guards and bigs go together here. We'll just do all guards and all bigs again. I need 2 guys up here, and then 2 guys over in the middle of the court. All right, 3 of the things that I mentioned, and this is probably the way that I've found to be the most like magical way to fix the constraint or play into the constraint of only having one basket and a bunch of players. Find games and drills that are synergistic for all of their needs. So handling pressure was something. Finding passing windows was another AI-generated thing. And seals was the third, okay? So we're gonna combine all 3 of those things where you're gonna come up the court, again, low intensity, so your goal is not really to steal the ball, it's more so just to kind of bump, disturb, and then try to get a hand on the pass, all right? So you're gonna dribble it down. You can either play on the side or you can play in front, doesn't matter, all right? Defense, hands behind the back earlier. Again, great constraint to get like lower levels of intensity. Offense, you're gonna act like a big and try to beat him down the court as quickly as possible. Seal him here. So let's say you play defense on me, okay? I'm going here. I'm trying to get it sealed early on. Yep, I can go here. I can make an over the top pass, whatever. I'm here. You can put one hand up, but you cannot jump, all right? And I'm just looking to get into a little shot. All right, cool. Let's go groups of 4. Y'all 4, y'all 4. Is that, I'm tripping, I counted the wrong way. So we'll go 2 on this side, 1 on this side. Cool?
Yeah.
Rotate each time.
Catch up the seal.
No dribbles, no dribbles. Good question, good question. Yeah, try to get as close as you can on that seal, no dribbles. Yeah. Actually, no. We'll go both sides. Why not? We'll go both sides. Let's go. Not bad. So look, actually we'll do this. Sorry, I like it a little bit more defense in front. Defense, you're gonna be here. So dribble up. I'm here, I'm giving you a little something. All right, I'm trying to clog this passing window, but I'm not pushing too much, all right? Let's say this is like a kind of chill day. Just imagine it, you guys just played a long game. It's a little bit more of a relaxed vibe. Let's go.
One of my everyday drills.
Really? No fucking what?
We call it, what do we fucking call it? Messina drill.
Oh, really?
You have 2 dribbles to get to this spot.
Nice, and then make a...
You off, you keep going.
Nice.
Now we pause to help, so I'm actually potentially going to do this exact same drill now.
Great minds think alike, man. Messina drill, I like it.
And the interesting part is everything that you've just said, I don't need to repeat.
Yeah, facts.
We have play development plans. We have, they all know their development plans. We do routines every day where they just have free time.
Bro, it's...
Do everything the same.
And that's why you guys are where you are. Facts. Defense, let's get a deflection. Focus less on the pressure, more on the deflection. Try to get a passing angle. Nice. All right, couple more reps. All right, real quick, pause. Okay, so my goal for you guys, and I'm not just saying this because I want this to be like a low intensity day, but let's see how effortless you can be with the ball. Like your goal is to try not to sweat doing this. Think about it that way, right? A lot of you guys, and this is not bad, just a different solution, are coming up here full speed, getting here. Let's see if you can just kind of flow into it, pick it up, make a quick little pass. 50% effort. Let's go. Oh yeah, hey, I like it. Honestly, that is one of my favorite cues for shooting, for ball handling, for tactics. Players often find themselves like such tunnel vision, 110%, but then you look at the best players in the world and it looks like they're effortless, right? They're efficient, very efficient athletes, and it's good to cue sometimes. 30 seconds. Let's go, chill, yeah, there we go. Find that. Beauty, oh! 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Okay, down here, I just need a couple demonstrations. We won't break up into these drills. Now, let's say we can't even go mock defense, can't even go 50% speed defense. It's got to be 1-on-0. I could do a 6-hour presentation on 1-on-0 stuff, so I'm going to restrain myself here. But let's say we want to work on seals with bigs, dynamic shooting with guards, with wings, and somebody just give me one for guards. I don't know. Or sorry, what was one of the? It was passing windows. Nah, that was one of the, that was not the AI generated one. All right, pull up threes, there we go, okay. Bigs, I'll create one here. Nice, similar to what we just did. Let's have you guys down here. Okay, one of you guys is gonna be passing, so either one wants to come out here. Beauty. And then one of you guys is like sealing like you were on this last drill, okay? So if I'm passing here, I have to make a one-hand pass, preferably with your weak hand, okay? So you're gonna be sealing the opposite way, so kind of like an inside seal here. So imagine like you have a guy sealed here, yep. Your goal is to make an absolute dime right to his hand. You have to get it out of your hand as quickly as possible. So you're catching here and just straight up into it. Try to find it. I do not want to see like slow catch, find the rim, go. It's just directly into it. Let's go. Oh yeah. Let's go. Try it again. Try it again. Try to get a nice little float over the shoulder. Not bad. So look, try it again here. Also, you're not allowed to catch it with two hands. So directly up there. Try to even turn a little bit from me here. Yep, like this. So I'm trying to be, oh, that's getting picked. All right, no, I don't like that. That's terrible. Shitty pass. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Beauty. All right, try that one more time. Keep going as I talk. What's a constraint I could add if they get this down? Like right now, you see the dexterity is still a little bit of a challenge. Let's say like they're getting 80% of these that look very smooth.
You can only look at the rear after the catch?
Yeah, so challenge the vision, disturb the visual system a little bit. Anything else? Yeah, offhand would be definitely a good one. I could say from the catch, they need to land outside of the paint. So now they have to catch and reach as they may in a game. I could put it outside the square on the backboard. All right, a bunch of different ways we could go about it. Good. All right, that's all I needed out of that. Dynamic shooting. Question?
No, I was just like, you could catch it in.
Yeah, so maybe catch, ooh, and then go under like this. See, now the mind's going. And then we come up with thousands for one drill. Guards, dynamic shooting. I could go on, again, literally with just dynamic shooting on-air drills for a minute. I'm going to challenge you guys. What's a drill or a game drill that you've done that challenges your balance when you're shooting?
It's like you have to jump with the boot, land on one foot, and then go into one two.
There we go. Simple. How could you build on that? Players, coaches, how could you build? Let's say you're knocking down all of them. It's easy. And we want to add some difficulty to it.
Add dribble?
Yeah, so maybe now we add in a little bit of like dribble timing where it's like here into it, especially, yep.
Rough around behind when you get it.
Nice. A little hand placement challenge, try that. Beauty. So again, this could be, we could go on forever here, but especially shooting wise, it's just about adding something to disturb one of the systems. Excuse me. And then actually the last one I want to go with is, instead of pull-up threes, because that's kind of the same thing, it's just dynamic shooting with the dribble. Finishing. Finishing is the toughest thing to challenge unless you have some creativity. Why would I say that finishing is the toughest thing to challenge on air? Yeah, you're a foot away from the basket, and if you do it in its truest sense, you're probably not, maybe at younger levels, inherently a layup is difficult, but for most it's not. So we can add a bunch of different things. We already kind of talked about some of the constraints that you can add to layups, but as you guys can see, like, it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's not about creating thousands of new drills, but rather about just adding tough constraints to simple things, right? You guys, quickly take 1 minute to get water, because we're gonna go some 2v2 stuff, and that'll lead up to Ricky. Any questions as of now? So just to recap a little bit, we talked about if you can break into positions, great, how that may look, especially even if you only have one coach, adding different constraints, stuff like that. We then went over to half court, how you can manage a bunch of players with varying skill levels, playing styles, positions in one. We talked about if you could go only like mock defense. We talked about on air. Were there any questions unanswered that you guys have off of that?
Only one. How you decide that a drill is repetition-based or time-based?
In terms of like the end goal of like 5 minutes versus, that's a really good question. And that's honestly something I don't think I've ever explicitly, I've thought about it, but I've never really answered that question. So number one, I appreciate that. I think what it comes down to is if the players at hand are in a very competitive zone, I don't like to make it time-based unless they're competing against time and it's like you have to make X amount of shots in 5 minutes. But if I know that they're rolling on competing and it's a group that's in the gym a lot together, you know, they have their little fake rivalries and shit, it'll be more point-based because I know that brings the best out of them. However, on the flip side of that, if they have that dynamic, but I want it to be a more chill day on the nervous system, we'll make it time-based. So you don't win, we're just going for 5 minutes here. And as a result, you may get 5% less output, which is good sometimes because, again, you can't, especially with players as they get older, can't like chip away over and over again. So stuff like that. Sometimes, again, like from a practice standpoint, players could take way too long or way too short and it's tough to plan. So sometimes you just go time-based, and you can kind of do a hybrid where it's like first to 3 or 5 minutes or whatever, and then if they get there, you just keep going. So that's a good one, but I think a lot of it is like the level of competition that they're getting into. Great question. Anything else?
I was going to say kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
Say if you're training an individual player.
Yes.
How do you... Would you feel like it's better to go rep-based or time-based? And also, like, how do you factor in like the competition element? Like,
yes.
with the individual?
So if I'm working with an individual, I would say most of the competition comes from competing. This sounds obvious, but competing with themselves. And you have to find ways to do that. Now, some players are tougher to create that dynamic because they don't inherently challenge themselves. It's not their nature. With those players, you just frustrate the shit out of them, and frustration is the competition. They don't want to feel the pain of missing anymore or of doing something suboptimally anymore, and that becomes a pain versus some players, they just come in the gym and everything you give them, they're going to attack it. So it's about knowing your player. Shooting, I like to do like stat-based, I guess, or rep-based versus other things. I would say actually individually, I rarely do time-based because it's so responsive to how they're doing it that I think, for example, like when I give players programs, I very rarely tell them the amount of reps to do. And if I do, it's like a suggestion because I think it's just such an arbitrary thing. Like in strength and conditioning, there's science behind like 8 reps equals, you know, hypertrophy focus if you want to get like bigger, and then 4 is like strength based, whatever. In basketball, we just, do 6 of these. There's no reason behind it. We just say it because that's what we feel is right. Versus, hey, do this until I can tell that it's clicked, and then move on from there. And that's where I've really started to go with that, where it's like, I want to see the light bulb go off, and then maybe we ensure that the light bulb stays on for a couple reps, and then we're directly on to the next thing, versus being like 12 reps. They get it after the first 3, and then we have to do 12 because I said it, if that makes sense. It's a really good question. Anything else before we get into some 2v2? Yeah.
Do you ever, when you're coaching girls and guys, with this stuff, because we talk about it all the time, if I walk into my practice, most of the time, the girls will just have a chat because they're not as creative as the guys. The girls don't like to play one-on-one, physical, and be like, oh, let's ball handles. Like, do you see a difference with this stuff?
Massive difference. And I have found, which I'm sure you have significantly more experience with this than me, but the difference is that guys will always do the opposite of what you tell them. Not always, but like girls want to be perfect. So that whiteboard is the most powerful thing that you could use for that. For guys, if you write something on the whiteboard and say, hey, come in and do this, they're going to tell you to fuck off.
We don't. Girls do it, we don't.
Really? Yeah. And there we go. And if it's like, hey, here, do something with this. But if one of those things is you have to come up with 5 different ways to play one-on-one, they're going to do it because it's being prescribed to them. But creativity is being prescribed to them through that, if that makes sense. So it's still not perfect at all, but I've definitely found like the more prescriptive versus divergent way of thinking has definitely helped with on the girl side of things. I was thinking of something else, but I can't remember. But that wraps up most of it.
Even in like drills like that, they want to be like the perfect finish.
Yes. And they always ask you like, was that good? Was that okay? And you're like,
they want to try all these new things because they don't want to look silly and stuff. So I think I struggle sometimes with these drills just for that aspect and like the physical side of them going at each other.
Yes. It's definitely tough, but it's got its pros and cons for sure. Anything else before?
How do you balance letting players find their own solutions compared to, say, if they're not finding solutions or they're not being expansive with what they're looking for?
Yeah. So I would say there are 3 ways where I will not just allow a player to find their own solution. One, if it's outside of the bandwidth that we want them to be in technically. So that's mainly shooting, right? If I'm allowing a player to find a solution, but that solution looks like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or like a terrible shot, that's a crazy pull. But if the solution is very, not just ugly, but not functional, and that's a whole art in itself, then it's about bringing them back within that bandwidth and helping them find that solution. 2, if the solution is always the same solution, for the sake of just being rigid and robotic, when I know that there are other solutions available, that's less about telling them to do something, but just putting a constraint on them so that doesn't happen. So as you, in the first drill with the passing, it was like, I noticed a lot of them were just going up, making a bounce pass. It's like, all right, if you do that, you can't do it again. And that just brings about more solutions. And then I would say the last one is, damn, I was thinking of one. Not functional technique. Yes. I would say the last one is like, if you're working with a player and they are so frustrated that they cannot find the solution and it's just taking too long, it's dragging out. Again, in art, I've spent 30 minutes, 45 minutes trying to help a player find a solution because I know when it does click, that's more valuable than getting 15 minutes worth of reps instead of that. But at some points, especially if you have an hour a week with a player or a team, you have to accelerate that process. Then it's not about giving them a solution, but just kind of nudging them towards that and guiding them, whether that's with questions, constraints, or sometimes just telling them the solution because you know it's still going to be difficult even if they kind of understand the solution. That's huge. And that's different, like, tactically, I would say I prescribe solutions a bit more versus like in terms of training movement. If we're training a player shooting, finishing, ball handling, I will give significantly less guidance to the solution than tactically, right? Because you can think about those things a little bit more. If you're coming off a ball screen and you know that you're seeing a hard hedge coverage, you have more time to process what the solution to that is versus you getting into a shot and you lose a little bit of balance and it's just like literally in 0.2 of a second you have to figure that out. The human brain cannot receive words and create that output, so I'm not going to sit there and be like, you have to get your hands on the seams at the last second, because it just doesn't work like that. So I'd say those are like the 3 times, and then it depends whether it's tactical or skill. Okay, I'll give you guys a couple questions at the end, if you still have any, after we do this, and then we'll lead into Ricky. Sorry, get up. Let's go. Got you guys a rest. All right. So, building up, obviously, we would probably just choose literally a 10th, a 5th of what we have just done to be the skill work at the beginning of a practice. This is not like what I would do every single day because it's just not practical. So after more individual focused stuff, we would build up to pairs, working in essentially 2-man interactions here, 2v2, that are the core components of the offense. This is probably the best bridge that I've found from an individual skill standpoint to a team standpoint, where it's about identifying the primary 2-man interactions in your offense and repping them out with defense. And just doing them over and over and over again, putting different constraints on them, and whatever those are for your offense, it may vary, it will vary, but I'm gonna give some examples here that may fit what you guys do, may not, okay? First one is the second part of a zoom action. So let's go, who wants to go 2v2? Figure it out, whoever gets out here first, let's go. There we go. Beauty. Okay, so let's say you've already come off of a pin down here, right? So theoretically, I'm setting this. You do a good job of getting through. Great, okay? Obviously, zoom action is a 3-man action, but sometimes we need to simplify it, get more volume, and we're just playing off of this. So they do a good job of going over it. Now, let's say this is a big, excuse me, who cannot dribble. Let's say you picked up your dribble, you've taken dribble into it, boom. You have to go over it. That's all. Make it, take it. Let's go. So, the primary KPI, key performance indicator here, is not scoring. Can anyone guess what the only thing that I'm really looking for here is? Advantage creation, right? On that, I honestly probably would have blown it dead after they stifled the advantage, but I was going to let them try to figure out a way to quickly recreate an advantage, which could have been what? How could you guys have quickly recreated advantage after you did a good job getting through? Yeah, either do it again or flip it, right? After you pass it or hand it off here, let's say you roll a little bit, you're like, oh shit, he doesn't have anything, quick flip, play off of that. I'm cool with that. So that's kind of like the second shot that you get at advantage creation. So the rule for this, the constraint for this is going to be, obviously you have to go over. If you don't get an advantage, you have half a second to quickly recreate an advantage. Flip it, ghost it, something off of that, but you must find an advantage quickly. Let's go. Yep, I'll take it. Solid. All right, let's do this. 2v2. King of the court style here, king of the court style there, off that ending of the zoom action. Let's go. Yeah, y'all can stay here. Doesn't matter. Nice. All right, I'm gonna adjust it real quick. Same shit, but now I'm taking a dribble into it, okay? And defense, you're gonna start, let's say you're on offense, I'm gonna start here. So on like this back hip, you're sprinting into it. So let's say I already got caught on like that, pinned down a little bit. Let's go. Yo, quick adjustment, quick adjustment. I'm dribbling into it. So I'm here, I pick it up, okay? Defense, let's say I'm on defense, I'm starting a little bit behind right here. All right, so it's like I already got chipped on that pin down. All right, let's go. Can't switch, I'll take it. No switches, you have to go over. No switches, you gotta go over. I know, they're like, what the f? That's an interesting conversation. How you go against your principles to recreate the...
Teach you all.
I remember you said that.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, go that way. Thank you. Yeah, it's just really interesting the fact that, well, you're going to come across a team that's under, so we have to
play against your... Yeah.
Now to the point of the season where it's scout.
Yeah, facts. Yo, let's get over the top, little Andrew Bogut vibe. Yes. Oh, shoot that. Yes. Hey, I like it. Boom. Beauty, beauty. Good pass. Last one, last one. Good take. Give me that. Time, time. You got, last rep, go ahead. I know you wanted that. Ooh. All right, next one. Next one. Now, let's say in our offense, we end up getting up here a lot and then have a second side ball screen, okay? So, whoever's off, I need somebody who's off to pass from right there. All right, I need a big coming up from elbow-ish area. All right, you can start different places. Big doesn't have to be a big. And then I need defenders on both of us. And then one of y'all will switch out to be me. All right, now let's say, again, we go through the Zoom, we don't get anything. Our next action is flowing into a second side ball screen, okay? So the two-man interaction is as such. He's coming up, looking to set a screen. If I catch it here, I'm coming off, okay? Let's play off of a hard hedge, so you have to hard hedge this here, all right? And playing through that. Now, if I get rejected, what can we do? Let's say you're rejecting me or denying me. Sorry, rejecting is crazy. Denying me. What can I do on a deny? Hit him. Playing off of this. Or he could set a flare if he cannot receive the ball. Does that make sense? All right. Who wants to be me? Let's go. Yep. Oh, I like it though. Cool? Yeah. Let's go. Hedge man, see if you can get a turnover. Hedge the shit out of that. Hedge the shit out of it. Even on that, yep. Nice. There we go. Yeah, let's go king of the court. Yep, hard hedge. Bingo. Super drop. Yes, yes, nice. Oh, he wanted that one more. I'm not mad at it. Few more. Good take. Nice. Woo-hoo. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. I gave you hella time for that too. All right, so for this, we could keep going with different 2v2s. Again, there are countless of these, especially, obviously with a team, it's a little bit easier because you just look at your offense, you go, hey, what are the most common two-man interactions that I see? And then we're just gonna rep the shit out of those until they get good at them. Pretty simple. That's how you get good at advantage creation, in my opinion, is you get, your players are very skilled, and your players know how to maximize or optimize two-man interactions. Now, this doesn't have to be with the team. Obviously, at the moment, I am not coaching a team. However, I am constantly watching basketball to understand the most common two-man interactions that we are seeing, so that in the off-season, especially when I'm working with players who are in the transfer portal, they have no idea where they're going to college, high school kids who are, or middle school kids who are going to high school in the U.S., whatever, professional players players who don't have a contract for next year, and we're just going to go different 2-man, 3-man, excuse me, interactions over and over and over again, so that when they get into a game, they know how to create those advantages from day one of training camp or practice, or even if it's a youth player, you know, they don't have to be taught how to do a dribble handoff. They know how to create those, and you'll find that these players are the ones who understand how to be aggressive, and especially, you know, once you get up higher levels in basketball, every player has their coach, their parents, mainly their parents, telling them, be more aggressive, be more aggressive. And usually what they do is they shoot more shots. Right? To me, what aggression is maximizing every interaction that you have, especially 2-man interactions, but also you can go 3-man zooms, stack like Spain action, the list could go on there. But like, how can you look to see how can you find the affordances or the opportunities to attack every single time? And to do that, you need to be in these situations a bunch and reading them in live time. And again, when you combine those two things, it makes way better players who are not only just skilled, but understand how to play, how to be skilled in the context of a team, especially when you kind of ramp it up to what Ricky's going to talk about right now. So again, we can go on and on. That 2v2 section will probably be a massive portion of what we would do in the off season with just, you know, random players or with the team, and that can be customized for whatever situation. Any questions? Nothing. Got all of them out earlier? Beauty.